What is going on, fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives Make Money Online Trainer podcast. It's your boy, Brian Mark. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to sell high ticket programs, how to make more money on the phone. All right. So what are we doing here? Why are we talking about high ticket sales? Well, I'm currently on a trip to Calgary to write this book called the $10 million Instagram Funnel Blueprint. And right now I'm on the sales chapter. So right now you guys are getting the sales knowledge because that's what's in my fucking brain. I'm like not even close to being done the chapter. It's 5,000 words so far. Got about another 5,000 words to go, but we're balls deep in the chapter. So let's talk about sales psychology. Now, I want to break this process down for you guys into basically an 11-step process. And I'm going to do my best to explain every part of the process in as little detail so that it doesn't take me an hour, but as much detail so that you understand how to sell more high ticket packages. So first things first, let's dive in and talk about high ticket as a whole. I think that a lot of you guys, if you want to learn how to sell high ticket packages, the first thing that you need to understand is that people do not pay you for the amount of time that you spend on the program. People pay you for the result that you're able to give them. And the perfect example that I'll use to describe this is imagine you drive your car into a mechanic, right? And you tell them that something's wrong with your engine. You're like, my engine light came on and I don't know what to do. So you spent the last, 2-3 weeks trying to figure out why your engine light's on. You can't figure it out. You drive into the mechanic. He looks at your engine. He spends 30 minutes on it. He solves the problem, turns the engine light off, and does whatever the fuck mechanics do to fix the problem. And then he charges you $1,000. So that $1,000 that he charges you is not because he took 30 minutes and fixed your car. The $1,000 that he charges you is because he knows exactly what problem to fix. He knows exactly where to look. He knows exactly what to replace. He has the solution to your problem, which is why we go to mechanics and spend $500 to $1,000 to $2,000 on things that might take them 30 minutes to an hour. That's how it works. You're paid for the expertise, right? It's the same reason where like when I go get my blood work done, like I go get my blood work and I got to get like my requisition forms. And I don't know how it works in the United States, but I'll tell you, I go to a private doctor to get blood work requisitions. And every time I go to the private doctor to get blood work requisitions, it's $100 for a 30-minute consult. And then it's $300 every time I order labs. And I'm like, does it really? It takes you 10 fucking minutes to write that requisition. But I know that the reason that I'm paying the $300 to $400 is because I know that she went to school for the last few years. And I know that she's an expert in the field and I'm paying for her expertise. So the reason people buy high ticket is not because of the amount of time that you're spending on the program itself. It's the amount of experience and expertise that you've gathered and gained in the field that's making you have the ability to actually solve their problems. So that's a big mindset shift that you need to go through. Without further ado, let's dive into the actual call itself. I'm going to talk about the structure of how you should operate your sales call. So first things first, whenever you start the call, you can't be their friend, right? If you're starting your sales call and you're getting all buddy-buddy and you spend 5 to 10 minutes talking about the weather, you are not going to sell high ticket packages. People don't buy from friends. They buy from coaches they have rapport with. And so your job in the first 30 seconds to 2 minutes of the call is to cement yourself as an authority and to cement yourself as the person in power. And so part number one is called the pre-frame. And the way that we do the pre-frame is this. We're going to start the call. We're going to do a little bit of small talk. We're going to go back and forth. And then I'm going to say this. Okay, Nick, so what we're going to do on today's call is really simple. I'm just going to ask you a few questions about your current struggles in your fitness journey right now. We're going to talk about your number one goal in your fitness journey right now. And then I'm going to help you come up with a game plan to achieve your goals. At the end of this call, if I feel like I could help you, I'll invite you to work with me. If I feel like I can't, I'll point you in a different direction. Does that sound good? Now, we're going to do this before the call actually basically gets into the script because I want to set the frame that I am the leader, you are the follower. I will be asking you questions, you will be answering. Upon me setting this frame, as soon as they're like, yep, sounds good, that means they've actually agreed to the frame, which means you can continue your conversation. After you do the pre-frame, you're going to lighten it up a little bit and you're going to be like, okay, cool. So tell me a little bit about your story. Like what's your story and what inspired you to start your fitness journey? So this question's a little bit lighter. So we're just kind of like getting to know the prospect. Then we're going to say, okay, cool. So in regards to getting in the best shape of your life, obviously there's a lot of online coaches on the internet. What made you decide to get on a call with me today? This is called a why now, why me questions. So there's a lot of other online coaches on the internet. What made you decide to get on a call with me today? This question is going to make the prospect aware of why they chose to get on a phone with you. And if they're like, well, or like sometimes they're like, oh, you DM me, or like you reached out to me first. I'm like, yeah, totally get that. But you could have blocked me. You could have no-showed. You could have not shown up to today's call. You showed up today. So what made you show up to today's call today? So I'm still going to, even if they're like, yeah, you reached out to me, I'm still going to make them answer the question why they showed up today because they could have just blocked me But here they are on this call. So that's part number 2 is why now, why me? Part number 3, this is where you need to get to know the prospect's pain points. All right. So the reason we want to know the prospect's pain points is that we don't buy things unless we need a problem solved. And the example that I'll give you is the only time I go get a new iPhone is when my current iPhone starts to suck donkey balls, right? When it starts to get slow, the storage is full, it stops working as much, the charge doesn't hold. I'm like, okay, it's time to get a new fucking phone because this one sucks, right? I also only go to the drugstore to buy Tylenol when I have a headache. I don't waltz into the drugstore to buy Tylenol when I don't have a headache. I don't have a problem that needs to be solved. And so people do not purchase your products, they purchase your solution when they have a problem that they need to solve. And so in the pain point part of the script, what we want to do is we want to identify the problem that brought the prospect to the call with us today. So Nick, what would you say is your biggest struggle in your fitness journey right now? Fair enough. And how long has that been an issue? 2 years. Nick, you've been struggling with this for 2 years? That's crazy, bro. Damn. All right, fair enough. And what have you tried to do to solve this problem to kind of figure out, to get to the root of it? Cool. And again, like, how's that been impacting you? Like, not really knowing what to eat, not really knowing how to train, trying to figure this out on your own, feeling stuck and spinning your wheels. How's that been impacting you? Okay, that makes sense. And how does it make you feel, like, knowing that, like, even though you're working hard, you're not getting the results that you want? Yeah. And is that something that you're looking to change, or are you just comfortable the way things are? So I'm going to make them aware of their pain, right? I'm going to make them aware of their pain. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to ask them questions that make them aware of their pain. This is the thing about most people, right? Most people lie to themselves. They try to convince themselves that they're good enough as they are. They don't need to change, blah, 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 which is why, like, that's the only reason that people get, like, obese. Like, you don't get obese by accident. You get obese by lying to yourself. All right. You're eating McDonald's every day and you're just, like, deluding yourself that everything's fine. Everything's not fine. That's also how most people start struggling with their business, and they, like, get stuck after 2 or 3 years. They're just lying to themselves. Oh yeah, things are fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's all good. It's fine. People just delude themselves. And so on sales calls, you need to make them aware of some of the things that they're doing that are causing them not to lose weight. Also, when you ask the question, you're like, so how long have you been struggling with this problem? And they're like, I've been struggling my whole life. Literally, the way that I react, because I'm like, your whole life? What? You've been struggling to lose weight your whole life. That's a long time to struggle, Nick. Like, that's like, I'm just making you aware. Hello? That's not normal. Like, well, okay, like, what are you doing? So you need to make them aware of their current situation, and you need to shed some light on what they're doing. And this isn't shaming them. Like, I want you to write this down, okay? You're holding up a mirror. 3 years? That's a long time to be thinking about your fitness goals and not taking any action. Why has it been 3 years, Nick? Well, fucking this happened and then this happened too. And I'm like, okay, it's 3 years is still a long time, brother. Is that something you want to continue? You want to continue that trend, go another 3 years and, gain another 5, 10, 15 pounds, or you want to make a change? I want to make a change. Okay, sounds good. So pain points, we need to make them aware of what they're currently doing and shed some light on their actual situation, right? And we need to ask them questions that hold up a mirror to their situation and make them realize they're not happy with where they're at. Because if they were happy with where they're at, they wouldn't be on this fucking call with you, okay? The only reason, listen, you're an online coach, okay? If people show up to a call for a fitness assessment with you, they have a problem, you can solve it. There's no other reason that people show up to a fucking sales call, okay? They're not stupid. They're not like, they know what you do. You post on social media. Hello, I'm an online coach that helps men transform their life and lose body fat. The only reason that somebody would show up to a sales call with you is they know that you're going to sell them something, and they also know they have a problem that you might be able to help them with. It's your job on the sales call to identify what it is that brought them to that call and how long they've been struggling with it and, like, what they're feeling pain-wise. Next part of the script is about the vision, son. It's about the vision. We need to get them clear on the goal, the destination, the place that they'd like to reach. And this is the thing. If you just ask them pain point questions like, how long have you been struggling with this? How does that make you feel? Blah, 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 and you don't give them any sort of hope or direction, they're definitely not going to take action. They're just going to think you're a dick. They're going to leave that call and be like, damn, that guy just held up a mirror. And, like, I understand what he's saying, but I feel like shit. So what we need to do is we need to paint a vision for them, right? We need to let them know of the promised land, the dream state, the place that they could get to if they go all in. So, Nick, now that we kind of talked about where you're currently at, let's talk about some goals, brother. Like, let's transition the conversation for a little bit. What would you say is your number one goal right now in your fitness journey? Cool. Lose 20 pounds. I love it. And like, why the 20 pounds? Like, why is that goal important to you? Perfect. And out of curiosity, like, let's say that you did lose the 20 pounds. You looked at yourself in the mirror. You were in the best shape of your life, like better than you've ever looked, better than you've ever felt. How would that make you feel? What would you do to celebrate? Yeah. All right. I love it. And Nick, I got to ask, right? Like, there's a lot of times that you could be doing this. You could be doing this in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. What makes this a right now thing for you? Like, why do you want to lose 20 pounds and get into the best shape of your life right now? Cool. So just so I understand you correctly, your number one goal is to lose 20 pounds. The reason you want to lose 20 pounds is you want to be a better example for your kids. And you understand that right now is the right time because you've been putting it off for the last 3 to 5 years. Is that correct? Cool. Is there any other goals that you have right now, or are those the main ones? Oh, you also want to do a Spartan race. I love that. I'm not really a Spartan guy myself. I'm more of a Land Rover. I don't like doing races. I like doing land walking, but I'll let you do the races for us. Perfect. Okay, so now we've identified the pain points, all the things they're struggling with, the goals, the place that they'd like to go, the destination they'd like to reach, how good it would feel to get to that destination. Now we need to do what I call widen the gap. Okay. Now, widening the gap essentially is creating more distance between where they are right now and where they want to be. So when you're getting to the widen the gap questions, what you need to do is you need to make them aware. Okay, these are your goals. This is what you're struggling with. So the question I asked to widen the gap is, all right, Nick, so now that I know you want to lose 20 pounds, now that I know that you've, basically been trying everything on the planet, nothing's been working, why do you feel like you haven't been able to achieve these goals on your own? This question is going to make the prospect aware of why they need you. Well, because I did this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair enough. And Nick, I hate to be this guy, but I got to ask this question. I got to play devil's advocate. Let's just pretend you get off this call, you do absolutely nothing, and your life stays in the same place. And we go another year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You haven't made any progress. If anything, you've actually gained 5, 10, 15 pounds. How would that make you feel? Well, I wouldn't want that. All right. So is that something that you want to change today? Yeah, it's something I want to change. Sounds good. Let's fucking get it. Okay, so we've got pre-frame, why now, why me, pain points, vision, gap. Next part of the script is we give advice. You need to give advice. The only reason people would purchase your product is because they believe that you have the solution to their problem. And so in this part of the script, we're going to identify all of the things that they're doing right now that are causing them not to get the results, and you're going to give them advice based off of that. All right, Nick. So based off of everything we talked about today, you told me that you eat McDonald's 3 times a week. You go out way too much. You are not only working out twice a week. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out the McDonald's. Yeah, no shit, Brian. And we need to replace the McDonald's foods with some healthy, filling option. Sounds to me like you're doing this like all or nothing stuff. So it's either like keto diet or McDonald's. We need to find a happy medium where you're eating foods that you love and losing weight. Does that make sense? Perfect. And also in terms of your workout program, twice a week is not enough. We need to get you strength training at least 4 times a week in the gym. We need to get you lifting heavier weights so that you progressively overload, which will increase your muscle mass and also your metabolism. Does that make sense? Perfect. This will also make it easier for you to lose fat in the long term because you won't have to cut calories in order to lose fat because your metabolism will be working better because you have more muscle. Make sense? Perfect. So this is where you're actually going to give advice and show that you're an expert. You're going to tell them the problem, tell them the solution, give them the roadmap in order to get there. Cool. Does this make sense? All right, perfect. So, at the start of this call, Nick, I definitely let you know whether or not I was going to be able to help you out. The good news is you're definitely the type of client that I can help. Would you like to hear about my coaching program and how I can work with you? Yes. Okay, perfect. So now, number 7 is we're going to pitch their problems. This is where you're going to identify their specific problems. Then you're going to pitch your program to the things that they've mentioned. Here's what that looks like. All right, Nick. So at the start of the call, you mentioned to me that your nutrition is the biggest thing that you struggle with. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to get you on a weekly meal plan. All right. Every single week, I'm going to update your meal plan based off of your check-in. So you're going to send me a check-in. I'm going to look at your check-in. I'm going to make some adjustments so that on a week-to-week basis, you're going to know exactly what to eat. And I'm going to include some of your favorite foods. Does that make sense? Perfect. You also mentioned to me that you want to lose 20 pounds, which I think is really important. So when I'm doing your training plan, I'm going to update your training program every 4 weeks. I'm going to design your training plan with a few strength days a week. And also I'm going to be making sure that the strength program that I put you on is designed to help you build lean muscle and burn body fat so that we get you close to your goals. Does that make sense? Perfect. Do you have any questions about that? Nope. Okay, cool. Now, last thing is you told me that you struggle with accountability and you constantly lose motivation. And so every single week, I'm going to send you a check-in. It's your responsibility to get me that check-in back. Based off of that check-in response, I will either make changes to your program or We'll keep it the same if you're losing weight. But either way, you're either going to make progress or we're going to make changes to your program so that we make progress on a week-to-week basis. Does that make sense? Perfect. So out of all the parts of the program that I mentioned to you, Nick, what part of the program stands out the most to you? The training, the nutrition, or the accountability? Now we're going to move on to part 8, which is I'm going to get them to sell it back to me. Once I explain my offer, and guys, by the way that I explain my offer is exactly how you should do it. I talk about the meal plan, and then I'm like, does that make sense? And I pause for a second. Perfect. Then I move on to the next part. Does that make sense? Like, are you with me so far? I get them to agree. Then I move on to the next part. Now the accountability, does that make sense? Perfect. Do you makes any questions about that? No? Okay, perfect. Then I move on to the next part. Most of you dorks, when you get on your sales calls, are like, yeah, so like it's 16 weeks of training, nutrition, and accountability. So for the training plan, I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. And then for the meal plan, I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. And then for the accountability, I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. And you're just fucking talking for like 10 minutes straight. And by the time the prospect has a chance to say something, you're like, does that make sense? They're like, no. Like, they might say yes, but they're just saying yes to be polite because you just fucking talk to them for 10 minutes. It needs to be a conversation. Pitch the training. Does that make sense? Pitch the nutrition. Does that make sense? Pitch the accountability. Does that make sense? Then get them to sell back to you. Of all the parts of the program that I mentioned to you, Nicholas Schaefer, the vegan, which part of the program stands out the most to you? And they're going to be like, oh, you're really handsome and your beard's nice. And I like the meal plan. I'm like, okay, cool. Meal plan sounds good. And why do you feel like the meal plan would benefit you the most? And then they're going to tell you why the meal plan would benefit them the most. And you're like, okay, great. Okay, so now we're going to drop the price. All right, Nick. So typically speaking, if you were to hire an in-person trainer for 16 weeks, it would cost you about $5,000 and you wouldn't get a nutrition plan. My online coaching program comes with training, nutrition, and accountability, and it also comes with a guarantee of results. It's going to be 16 weeks for $1,497. How does that sound? Then I'm just going to shut the fuck up. And then Nick is going to say, well, that sounds good, but I'm a vegan and I need to talk to my wife. And I'm like, okay, totally makes sense. I hear you, brother. And just out of curiosity, does your wife know that we're speaking today? Okay, perfect. And typically speaking, like, is she supportive of your goals? Like, she wants you to win and get in the best shape of your life? Cool. And out of curiosity, like, I know that you've mentioned to me about how much this issue has been bothering you and how you've been struggling for the last like few years with this weight loss thing. Is your wife aware of like how much you've been struggling with it internally? Like, does she know like the depth of like what we discussed on this call today? Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Nicholas. If in 16 weeks time, you were in the best shape of your life, you looked and felt your very best, and you were able to show up as a better husband, better father, better man for your household, do you think your wife would be excited about that? And I get it. Like, I usually run a lot of my major decisions by my spouse as well. And you actually remind me of my client, John. Just like you, John felt like he needed to check with his wife before he made a major decision. But what we found is that like John was actually just scared of the commitment because like this is not like an easy thing to actually make the decision that you're going to lose 25 plus pounds. John decided to join the coaching program. He's been with me for 16 weeks now, and he's down 15 pounds and he's in the best shape of his life. Now, let me ask you a question, Nick. If we were able to help you lose 15 pounds and get into the best shape of your life in the next 16 weeks, would the investment be worth it? Perfect. Sounds to me like you're ready to get started. I love it. Okay, so you just need to make sure that the wife's on board. Okay. Can I be honest with you, John? I've been on thousands of these calls, all right? And I know how these conversations typically go. And typically speaking, when the prospect says, I need to talk to my wife, 99% of the time, they don't come back. They stay in the same place. And 1, 2, 3 years goes by. And then they reach out to me again saying like, Brian, please help me. I need help with my weight loss journey. And I don't want that to be you, John, because correct me if I'm wrong. You told me that you really want this, right? Okay, perfect. So let's do this. Let's go talk to your wife. Let's get a $300 deposit down today to secure your spot in the program and to show me that you're committed. Now, let's say you go put that deposit down, then you go talk to your wife and she looks at my social media and she doesn't like my beard, doesn't like the way that I look, or just says no. I'll send you your money back in full, no questions asked. The deposit is just to show me that you actually care about this goal and that you're serious about this commitment and that you actually want to make a change. And if for whatever reason your wife says, I suck, I'll send you the money back in full. How does that sound? Sweet. Let's do it. Bam. Just like that, son. So number 9 is we drop the price. Number 10 is we overcome objections. Guys, you got to expect the prospect has objections, okay? If the prospect didn't have objections, they'd already be in shape. You feel? The fact of the matter is, the reason they're out of shape is because they're making excuses. Oh, I can't because, I can't because, I can't because, Bro, I see right through you. And I'm going to call them out and like, notice my tone. I'm not like, what do you mean you got to talk to your wife? Totally makes sense, brother. I get that you need to talk to your wife. I run a lot of my major decisions by my spouse as well. Does your spouse know that we're speaking today? I'm like almost like curious, like, oh yeah, I get that. That's cool. I'm like nonchalant. I'm nonchalant, but I'm also saying what the fuck needs to be said, you know? So it's like the tone is curious and I'm like leaning in to what they're saying. I also like, this is the thing. I believe on sales calls, I'm either going to sell them a program or they're going to sell me their bullshit. That's what I believe. I'm either going to sell you this program or you're going to sell me your bullshit. And so like, I'm not going to buy your bullshit. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Not today. No, not for me. No, thank you. I'm going to do everything in my power to overcome the objection. And I'm going to constantly remind you of why you showed up at this call in the first place. John, you told me you want to lose 20 pounds. You told me you wanted to be in the best shape of your life. You told me you wanted to be a better father for your kids. If we were able to do all of those things, do you think your wife would be on board for this program? Yes or no? Do you think your wife would be stoked about the idea of you getting into the best shape of your life and being a better father for your kids? Perfect. Sounds to me like you're ready to get started. If the paid in full is a little bit too much, we can definitely do a payment option as well. And that might make it a little bit easier for you to say yes. So why don't we do $750 now and $750 in 30 days? How does that sound? Come on, son. Hit me with it. Drop the price, overcome objections. Now, the last part is securing the payment and onboarding the client. You must secure the payment and onboard the client. Most of you dorks get on your sales calls and they're like, yes, I'm in. And you're like, cool. So I'm going to send you the link and then you can pay it and then we'll start. And they're like, cool, I'll pay it later tonight. And you're like, great. And then you hang up the phone and you're fucking waiting by your phone for like the next 6 hours, anxiously hoping that they're going to pay. Did they pay yet? Did they pay yet? Did they pay yet? Stop doing that. All right. I'm going to put you on some games, son. So take notes. What are you going to do? Once they say yes and they agree, and we're like, okay, perfect. That makes sense. Love it. So John, I'm sending you a text. Can you see that? The text is the payment link. Perfect. So you can see it. Awesome. So John, do me a favor and take care of that right now. It's only going to take you a couple minutes. While you're taking care of that, I'm just going to get the onboarding documents ready on my end. That way I can get you onboarded and then get you welcomed into the program and talk about the next steps. Cool. Do you want me to pay that right now? Yep. Just get that taken care of right now. It'll only take 30 seconds. Then I'm just going to sit there and let his ass pay. All right. Or her ass or her face, whatever. I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to let him pay. All right. Now, if you really want to like make this easy, this is what I did when I was really nervous to do this. By the way, the reason I started doing this is because I didn't fucking like the feeling of anxiously waiting on the phone for someone to pay. It's fucking annoying. I hate that shit. It's like the worst. I hate the feeling of waiting by my phone being like, are they going to pay? Are they going to pay? Are they going to pay? It annoys me. So I decided I was just going to collect the payment on the phone, and it's way fucking better and works way easier. I promise you. So when I first started doing this, in order for me to collect the payment on the phone, I would get really nervous and I was afraid that I was going to say something fucking stupid. So I literally just pressed fucking mute on myself. Mute myself. Bam. All right. So yeah, cool. So go ahead and get that taken care of right now. It only takes 30 seconds and I'm going to walk you through the onboarding. Cool. You're like, do you want me to pay right now? I'm like, yeah, only going to take 30 seconds. Cool. Cool. Mute. I don't let my ass say anything. I just let them pay. You got to let them pay. Okay. It's uncomfortable. It's a little bit nerve wracking. You got to let them pay. Got to let the boy, let the girl pay. All right. And then you're going to notice your Stripe account collect. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Going to get that cash, son. You're going to look at your Stripe account. You're going to realize they paid. Well, as soon as you realize they paid, you magically are done all your onboarding stuff and you come back. John, just saw the investment come through, brother. How you feeling? Nervous, excited, ready? My man. John, you just made the best decision for yourself and your family of 2025. I'm fucking proud of you, brother. And of course, there's going to be a little bit of anxiety associated with it because you just made a decision to change your life. And you just made a decision that most people don't. Most people don't make the decision to get in shape. Most people don't make the decision to lose the weight, but you don't sound like most people. It sounds to me like you want to be a leader. Is that right? My man. All right. So what I'm going to do next, John, is I'm going to send you a welcome questionnaire. It's going to go over all the information that I'm going to need to properly do your program. It's your responsibility to get that back to me within the next 24 hours. Once I have the welcome questionnaire back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on your program. That program will be done within the next 7 days. Is that fair? Perfect. Now, John, do you have any final questions for me before we end this call, just so I can make sure that you're feeling good, you're excited, you're motivated? Yeah. So the Facebook group, I'll get you added to that as soon as you're done that questionnaire. Basically, what I absolutely need from you in the next 24 hours is I need you to get me that questionnaire. Once you get me that questionnaire done, I'll get you over to the Facebook group and I'll also introduce you to all the clients and I'll get you all up to speed. But next step is to get that questionnaire back to me as soon as possible. So if you can get that done today, that'd be even better. All right. John, I hope you have the best day of your entire life. Congratulations on making the best decision for 2025. And I look forward to helping you lose 20 pounds. Let's fucking go. Talk to you soon, G. Peace. It's called a fucking mic drop. Give me my money, son. Come on, fam. That wasn't the most valuable podcast you've listened to in a long time. I don't know what the fuck was. All right. Trying to give you the sauce. Giving you the sauce. You just got to use it. So guys, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to this as much as I enjoyed saying it, because I don't know, but today I was just fucking vibing. I was feeling it. Also, just wanted to let you know that there's a new fucking book coming out. Okay. So tell your friends, tell your kids, tell the cats, tell your wife, tell everybody. Okay. The new book, $10 million Instagram funnel, the blueprint for online coaches. Stay fucking tuned. Okay. Because what we just talked about in today's podcast is going to be written down in a format that you can easily reference back to and understand at any point in time. Have the best day of your entire life. Talk to you guys in the next episode. Goodbye. See you later.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.